Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Ascension Activations. Excellent. It is so incredibly nice to have each and every one of you here with us. We just want to start with thank you, dear star people, for this beautiful channeled session tonight. Thank you so incredibly much for coming together and co-creating this beautiful moment. Thank you for helping and guiding each and every one of us on our ascension paths. And thank you so incredibly much for sending us the love and the light and for guiding us through this massive transformation that each and every one of us is co-creating together. I know the process of a spiritual ascension and evolution is playing out across so many different fields right now that we can see it reflecting into the civilization, into our own personal lives, and we can also see it reflected into every single part of our society. So we just want to say thank you so incredibly much, dear star people, for all of the information, as well as the energetic transferences that are occurring beyond your current observation. For dear ones, each of the star people are coming together to form unity consciousness for all of humanity, for all of Mother Earth herself, for all creatures, great and small. We are assisting in activating the crystalline kingdoms. These kingdoms, dear ones, you may start to observe within the boundaries of your imagination. For your imagination holds no limitations. You are able to shift. And by shifting, you start to know thyself. And during the process of learning yourself, you then unlock higher and higher levels of awareness. We wish to form an isosynaptic pulse. This generates a unity consciousness field around all individuals throughout all time and space. This thought grid, dear ones, allows for the highest vibrational alignment to the channeled session tonight. We wish for each of you to take a deep breath in. Oh. And one more deep breath in. Oh. Thank you. Thank you, dear star people, for this beautiful channel session tonight. We are very, very grateful and humble for your presence. Thank you. So we're going to start with the questions. The first question that we have for tonight is, who is the observer that witnesses your thoughts and emotions? And can that observer itself be observed? So the process of ascension, many individuals are already aware that that process involves becoming aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Having that observation of how does my body make me feel then allows for different multi-dimensional senses to start to activate. These multi-dimensional senses controls the simulation codings, dear ones, for every single emotion that each person resonates. Starts a process of manifestation. When the emotions are fully overcome, we hold a code 23 per emotion code. That means you hold three different polarities to the emotion: positive, negative, neutral. Then, as the primary individual observes that emotion in their own waking experience, they may then witness another individual holding that same exact emotional expression. This is of high value, for when true neutrality is held and you witness the same exact emotion playing out through other individuals in your physical reality, it then starts a process of mastering that emotion code. Each emotion code, when neutrality is fully observed, then starts a process of aligning the genetic expression. Each emotional setting starts to activate different senses. For dear ones, each trauma that an individual may observe starts a process of activating a very particularly aligned extrasensory ability. You may then, by that standard of itself, experience each dark emotion code from a place of power, from a place of activating your multidimensional abilities. We wish for each of you to love the traumas you have observed, regardless of how difficult that may seem. For each trauma you have observed grants access into the higher frequency realms, which then activate a certain level of the crystalline kingdom. When each individual comes together in a form of a collective consciousness, your extrasensory abilities will be activated across the light grid. Meaning, dear ones, each individual is going to be holding on to different alignments of different senses. When you put them all together, it will show you a higher level of awareness. That level of awareness is a celestial being. However, when each extrasensory ability starts to come online, you will feel, you will sense, and the majority of each individual in the planet will start to activate their higher energetic centers. These energetic centers contain different access keys into the light realms. For the crystalline kingdom is only one level in this matrix. There are higher levels, higher octaves. There is the awareness of a higher self, and then there is a full activation of a celestial being located within the center core of Mother Earth. Thank you. Thank you, dear star people. Thank you. So, can that observer itself be observed? Yes. When we start the process of ascending, what that looks like is we are in a physical body. We are here. And then we start to coax down our higher self. Our higher self takes the seat of a soul. We become the higher self. But that higher self is observing all thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are happening inside of our body. Now, I say inside very loosely because the truth is the emotions and the thoughts are actually outside of our body. We are in a field of ether. The ether contains all of the simulation codings. And then all of a sudden, we'll feel it. It will come into the body. We'll feel these emotions. An emotion lasts about a minute and a half. So if you step into a darker emotion and you start the process of breathing, just breathe. Allow that emotion to be here and allow it to neutralize so that you are absolutely okay with the emotion. It will then pass through your body. It will not stick to you. If we push up against the emotion, that emotion will start an imprinting process into the cells of the body. When that imprinting process occurs, then cycle repeats then form. The cycle repeats mean whatever experience that just imprinted you, it is going to cycle repeat again for you to have the same exact emotional expression. The universe, the body, the mind, the spirit, it comprehends intensity of the emotion, whether it is of a high polarity, love and light, or fear. It works with the intensity of the emotion. So, for example, when we start to talk about cycle repeats, let's say you have something that brings you bliss or happiness, and it's like an extreme level of happiness, the most amount of happy, that also is going to start a cycle repeat. And this is the reason why they usually tell you whatever it was that made you really happy as a child, that's what you want to look for as an adult because the cycle repeats form. So it's going to form in the darkness, it's also going to form in the light. So do that happy thing over and over and over again, so long as it's bringing you bliss. Now, when we start to neutralize the emotion codes, this does not mean spiritually bypass them. That means feel them, thank them, Be grateful for the experience. Know that it literally is there to evolve you. And sometimes it's okay for you to have the experience of just sitting with yourself, feeling the emotion and releasing, crying the emotion. Crying is a blessing. For every single tear that we cry is changing the energy in the cellular levels of the body. That is the way the body imprints. It is through water and memory and crystalline structures. Now, our next question for tonight, if all moments exist in the now moment, what does it truly mean to change the past or create the future? So changing the past, contact with the past version of ourselves, we are able to do. We are able to do this on many different levels. The star people are correcting, I was going to say too. We are able to go into deep meditation. We are able to summon the younger version of ourselves. This version of yourself can be from yesterday. It could be from a week ago. It could be the inner child. It doesn't matter. Once we see that person, we visualize them, we can contact them, we could talk to them. Now, all of a sudden, that contact that we have with them, when we start to release their emotions or we start to help them through their darkness, now it also releases that emotion off of us, being the now moment awareness. When we release that emotion off of us, when we open our eyes from the meditation, we are also healed. Now, the past version of ourself, the inner child, they are uniquely on their own timeline. So you may not have a memory of changing or altering your current timeline that you are experiencing. But there's other ways of doing it as well. And there are ways of actually vibrationally shifting your frequency by contacting the past life self, not the past life, but the past moment self, the younger self, which can make a multi-dimensional phase shift and put you into a different world among worlds expression. That is part of the multi-dimensional abilities each and every one of us has. When we start to go in, we imagine, we visualize. You visualize your memories. Your memories are fluid. We are able to change our memory at any given moment. We close our eyes, we go into the memory. How did it make you feel? When we feel into those emotions from the memories, there's different techniques of changing the emotions that we stored. So if something made you angry or uncomfortable, go into the memory, and it's kind of like feel love for it. Tell yourself, I feel love for this memory. I send myself love. I heal this memory. Now all of a sudden, your body's energy changes. When you do this and you push the new energetic setting into the cells, when a certain amount of cells hold the new vibrational resonance, when you open your eyes from the meditation, you literally will be in a parallel reality in which that was always healed. That is the way the multidimensional abilities are designed to work by nature. We vibrationally shift into parallel realities, which look very similar to the one that we're in, but there'll be tiny differences. And if you've ever had a deja vu, that's the higher self showing you. You shifted into a parallel reality that looks very close in its nature. But then you'll go inside during a meditation or you'll do an energetic shift and you'll make a big shift and something big will change. Sometimes we go through convergences, which are when all of the timelines, they blend back together into one and then they expand outwards again. That's a timeline convergence. When that happens, you'll notice changes in the outside simulation. Buildings may change, stores may change, roads may change, potholes may change, houses may change, people, all the stuff changes. That, what the star people have told us about timeline convergences, is that happens when the celestial being is either taking a breath out or in. It is in between the breaths. So it comes out and then goes in. When it comes together, all the timelines blend together, and that's a 0 point for a celestial being. And in that 0 point, that's when all the timelines blend together and everything rearranges. It's called a convergence. So if all moments exist in the now moment, what does it truly mean to change the past or create the future? Well, creating the future when we drop into the meditation. And once again, you don't even have to close your eyes. Some people mastered pulling ether cords. It's the weaver ability where you could just sit and focus and see it and see what you want and drop into that walking meditation with your eyes open. Even we do this when we're driving because driving automatically is a form of meditation. See what you want to see. Um, a really great one to do is all people drive brand new cars. All cars are brand new. So as you are driving on the road, just start the process of visualizing all cars are brand new. Thank you, universe. All cars are brand new. What's going to happen is you're going to vibrationally align yourself into a parallel reality in which every car that you see is new. And then in time, it reverberates outwards. And then all of a sudden, the society changes. It becomes a reflection of the new frequency that you are holding within yourself because this is who you are. Each and every one of us is multidimensional. And accessing the multidimensional ability starts with knowing yourself, knowing the frequency that you keep within. If you start to energetically cast these different things outside of you, thank you, universe, for this, thank you, universe, for that. I send my love and light. All of a sudden, the outside world starts to respond to you. You're going to see it. This is actually the way the human brain is designed to work as well. We have a reticular activating system. This system here puts our focus on certain things. And when we start the process of aligning ourselves, it shifts our focus. So this is what we see. So literally, what you are repetitively seeing or speaking, it starts to magnetically align itself into your zone of focus and then into your full manifestations in your physical reality. You are what you speak. It's the most important thing. Okay. Is consciousness generating reality, discovering reality, or participating in reality in a co-creative process? So is consciousness generating the reality, or are we discovering it, or is there a co-creation? So what the star people say is when you wake up in the AM and you are in your bed, your higher self has pre-programmed magnetic alignments. These magnetic alignments then start to put you in the right place at the right time to have the experiences with the people, places, and things that you are aligned to receive. So, does that mean that the consciousness is generating the reality or just observing the reality that's already here? When we start to talk about the multidimensional abilities that each and every one of us has, the second that you wake up in the AM, you drop into the body, you feel the magnetic alignments. So we know this for a solid fact. The attachments that the people have, that we have, the second you wake up in the AM, you will start to feel all of the attachments that the people who are going to come into your energetic field have. I know this to be a fact. And the second you have that awareness in the AM, you start to clear them. Now, what does this look like? This looks like clearing emotion codes. And many times you're like, where did this come from? This isn't mine. You're right, it isn't yours. But it's here because you were magnetically aligned to have the experience with person A, and person A has those energies in their field. Now, is it really yours? Yes. Why? Because you woke up in the AM holding that magnetic alignment. That is a clear indication that the higher self was desiring to have these experiences with people, places, and things outside of you in order to give you, the individual, an opportunity to overcome said emotion codes. The star people have taught us the emotion codes are the highest value thing because each and every emotion code controls the extrasensory abilities. Thought forms contain emotion codes. So, for example, you can take any animal. How does that animal's energy feel? What is the spiritual meaning behind that animal's energy? What's the energy? What is the meaning of it? What is the purpose? What does the animal do? Every single micro detail of the animal. Now, when we start to meditate with the animal, let's say we have a necklace or earrings we put on, that energy becomes a part of our physical reality. And if you focus on the outside world, on all your things, you're going to start to see that energy reflected. Now, many times you may see it when you take the necklace off, you may see the changes because then it's like, oh, wow, there was a big change there. What did you do? The same thing happens when we remove a crystal from our pocket. When you remove the crystal, all of a sudden you may notice things change very rapidly when you remove it. Or you may even give an item away. And when that happens, you definitely notice things shift. If you focus on the outside world, you're going to start to notice the shifts as they come up for you. It's amazing when you start to see these things. So, yes, are we generating the reality, discovering the reality, or co-creating? It's all three. I believe we're doing all three. But overall, we are multidimensional. And basically, when you wake up, you're in a field of energy that has already aligned you for that day. We go day by day because the now moment is the present, it's the gift. This is where we are. So you are already sitting in the field of every single thing that was to be aligned in your day right there, the second you wake up. Now, it is also a co-creation because, like I said, you can drop right into meditation and you could realign yourself. You do not have to go according to the alignments that were pre-programmed when you first woke up. That is becoming conscious. And becoming conscious means I'm going to focus on my energy field. I'm going to focus on the cells of my body. I'm going to see what emotions I have. I'm going to release the darker emotions. I'm going to hold neutrality. I'm going to summon light codes. I want to access higher frequency crystalline keys. How does that make your body feel? To talk about it. It's like if you've ever felt that a very spiritual feeling wash over you, maybe you listen to a song or something. That's what the higher frequency crystalline keys feels like. It's very spiritual. It may even be referred to as feeling like a saint. So that high frequency of love and bliss and unity, that is an actual frequency that you're able to pull into the body and once again, push it into at least 8% of the body's cells in order to hold that frequency key. Beautiful. Okay, how much of your current personality is an authentic expression of your soul? How much is constructed through memory, culture, and experience? So that is, once again, the whole process of evolution is to know thyself. Your soul resembles your higher self. That is your natural state of being. That is who you are at your center core. But then we drop into the physicality. The light from the higher self, it slows. The process of slowing that light gives us the perception of being in a physical world. It is not physical, it is still a matrix made of light and sound harmonic resonances, as star people are saying. Now, when we identify that this is the way the light works and it comes down, then all of a sudden we can start to say, okay, well, what does my higher self feel like? If you've ever been in alignment to have the most amount of bliss and fun and excitement, that is your higher self. And then when we go through different emotions in life, it actually changes the way that we behave. So if you imprint any lower frequency emotion inside of a person, their behavior will start to shift ever so slightly. And then the more and more lower frequency emotions that become imprinted within the body, the emotion and the behaviors can radically change. But each and every one of us is born pure, for the most part, pure, meaning it's the most amount of higher self energy flowing through the child's body. That is that pure, that whole, holy, and complete. That is what that is. It is not 100% because if you are born with a birthmark or any scar or any of that stuff, it is a distorted pattern of light, which may then be healed. And that's okay too. We take a look at birthmarks, for an example. Birthmarks many times is a traumatic impact from the past life that they just reincarnated from. It can also span across fractals. So what that means is this, your higher self fractals into many body vessels at once, These different body vessels can be shared or co-created with other souls. So let's say, for an example, a person had an uncle and the uncle passed away. And then all of a sudden there was another person and then they had a child. The uncle's soul could blend with the father's soul and then give you the son's soul. It's a blending of the soul. Your soul tribe or soul family, many times they fractal, they blend souls together, they create new people, and there's like a whole cellular level of activity that the higher selves do. And, once again, when you're up at that level, you start to see different connections of the light and different energetic signatures. It's beautiful. So, your current personality is altered or modified by the emotional imprints that you currently are holding. When you start to figure out what it is that makes you really happy and excited, you're going to start to see your higher self. And that's absolutely beautiful because the more and more you start to identify your higher self, how does your higher self look? How does she feel or he feel? What makes them really, really happy? How do they speak? Now, the higher selves, usually it's very holy. It's very loving, caring, kind. It's very unity consciousness. That is the energy of the higher self. It is very bliss. So the more and more you start to feel that type of energy, the more and more you're going to learn who you actually are at your core. All the rest of the stuff is all imprints from, trauma that we've walked in this life incarnation or past life incarnations, and that's okay too. But the more and more we start to see that bliss energy, you'll start to know exactly who you are at your center core. And then usually once you know who that person is, that higher self, that feeling, many of us love the higher self. So the second that you have an awareness of your higher self, usually 9 times out of 10, it's like 10 times out of 10, but there's always one oddball. But usually you end up loving your higher self because you're like, wow, my higher self is amazing. And that's how each and every one of us feels about our higher self. Do you want to know why? Because the higher self is doing things that makes you really happy. That is why you feel like your higher self is amazing, which is beautiful. So, if every challenge contains a hidden teaching, how do we do discernment and acceptance and work together without becoming passive? So, this is really important because many times if an individual has an emotion come in, then, you know, just saying, oh, I'm neutral and letting it go, sometimes that doesn't really work. Sometimes your higher self is like, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. And like you have to go into the emotion. So and what do we have? Mary says, how do we keep that feeling? Is it like, it's like a roller coaster sometimes, release. So when you feel the emotions and you feeling the emotions go up and down or they just come out of nowhere. So there's a whole process of just breathe. And I know when I made my transformation in 2019, that was the one messenger, just breathe, that got me through it. I took one baby step and I took one breath. And then I took another one and like the anxiety release, all of that energy that you feel when you're walking through that darkness, if it's there, it's inside your body, it's outside of your body, you just breathe. Just connect to Mother Earth. Mother Earth naturally starts to pull that negative energy out of your body, out of your system. Sometimes when you go into nature, you just listen. You listen to the trees move. You listen to the animals, the insects, the birds. You just come into harmony with nature. Nature will heal you. It does not matter what type of nature it is. You could be sitting on the grass. You could be sitting by a creek. You could be at the beach. It does not matter. You could be in the woods. The woods is absolutely amazing too. Beautiful place. The woods naturally rebalances your magnetic field just by being around tall trees. This is the whole reason why people hug a tree. It is literally because the trees generate vortex energetics that heals you. So when we start to talk about discernment, it is important to muscle test the body. You do not have to use any physical hands. You just close your eyes, feel inside of your body, feel into any emotion code that you have had from your entire childhood. how does it make you feel? So the process of knowing thyself starts to teach us how to feel inside the body. Many times when you feel inside the body, let's say you're holding a crystal, you may feel the nervous system net shift depending on the crystal that you are holding. If you're holding a purple crystal, you may start to feel it up inside the pineal gland. You may feel your light energy shift all the way up to the pineal gland. If you're holding a rose quartz, you may start to feel the center of your chest expand, and that's okay too. Now, what the crystals are showing us, hey, this is what I do, and now I just made your nervous system net shift, and now you can feel the light underneath your skin lightly shift. And when that happens, you're like, oh, okay, that's an emotional setting. So what does a crystal do? This one holds unconditional love, and I felt it in my chest. Okay, that makes sense. Check. Now, when I start to feel an emotion, so let's say you're feeling any lower frequency emotion, how does it make my nervous system net respond? Did I feel it in the lower chakras? Did I feel it in the upper chakras? We know that there's a heat sensation that comes along with the emotions. Because if you take an infrared camera, you can see how the emotion affects the heat in the body. So we know this. The nervous system net is pushing the light values differently underneath the skin, depending on the emotion that you are picking. Sometimes you can actually pick a crystal, any crystal, and you can activate the crystal through meditating with it and tell it, thank you, crystal, for removing lower frequency emotions off of my body, mind, and spirit automatically. So that if you're holding the crystal, it just whooshes them off of you. Now, once again, when I say meditate with it, you have to get really happy and excited and imprint the crystal with whatever it is that you're trying to imprint. So repetition is also a key in this case. If you do it 100 times, you're going to eventually prove to yourself, oh, I held the crystal and all the emotions just disappeared. I felt this happen before, so I know how the crystals work. So do that. Thank you, Crystal, for healing all the people that come into contact with you, whether they're online or, in person. And now anyone who looks at the crystal, you may feel it release any sort of darkness off of you. We can program crystals to do this. We can program physical items to do this. You can program your nervous system net to do this. You can program the field outside of your body to do this. The most important thing is that you are learning yourself, because every single thing on the outside of you is a reflection of the light frequencies stemming on the inside of you. So go into the body, ask the body, how does this emotion make me feel? Does the emotion make you feel any type of way? Hold gratitude for the emotion and then just be at peace with it and allow the emotion to release. Sometimes you may do this and then the emotion may unpack. It may cycle repeat. It may come back up. That's okay too. When the cycle repeat does come up, that is an opportunity from the higher self to allow us to go through that emotion again to see it from a different angle. When we see the emotion from different angles, it actually activates different settings in our template. So, for example, let's say bright eyes. Bright eyes is a type of messenger that's in the eyes. Have you ever seen someone who's really, really happy? So really, really happy is one emotional setting that affects the heart and the face a little bit. But then there's really, really happy and their eyes are bright eyes. Those are two separate emotions. When you go through each experience, it gives you an opportunity to work with different emotions. Bright eyes actually makes a person's eyes like bright and sparkly. So they look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? Those are positive messengers. They're very similar to angels. They are angels. And when we hold that energy, now we become that energy. We hold it, we resonate it, and it's okay if we shift out of it. New ones will come. That is part of being multidimensional. Yeah. Okay. Can spiritual evolution occur without suffering? This is like a big question. And, in the beginning, and like I love to say that, in the beginning, there was suffering because you were learning your light values. You were learning your multidimensional abilities. We went through a whole life that was physical, right? We went to school. We did all of the things that we did in our early stages of life in a physical reality. And then all of a sudden, people started waking up spiritually. We started realizing, oh, I am more than this body. I am more than this life. I am more than this physical location. There's much more to me than what I've been told. And then you go down that path of opening your awareness and seeing, oh, I'm connected to everything. Wait a second, that tree over there, that is me. I am the tree. At any given moment, I can go inside and I can change a tree. I can communicate with the tree too, because the trees are psionic. Psionic means that they're telepathic in their nature. I could talk to Mother Earth. Mother Earth will answer me. She'll answer any one of us. Now, was there suffering involved? For the most part, learning to be a physical being involves some type of suffering. Everyone's gotten a paper cut before, just as an example. But now we want to talk about spiritual evolution. We're going to use the movie The Matrix just as an example. What happened in The Matrix? He woke up, he figured out who he was, but then what did he do? There came a turning point. And during that turning point, he realized, oh, wait, he didn't have to learn the martial arts. He could download it. What does that mean? So when we are able to download, that means that all of the extrasensory abilities now become available for us to just plug into. So does that mean that we have to suffer anymore? No. That means we just download it very easily. Now, once again, there's a light setting process that comes. Because when you're pulling at new extrasensory abilities, each one is connected to an emotion code. So what the star people had me do, they had me learning all of the emotion codes and overcoming the emotion codes. So that when the time is right, the extrasensory abilities, it's already there because you've already worked in the emotion codes. So that is what the star people have guided us to do. They've guided us to learn about messengers. Now, messengers are attachments, the lower frequency emotion codes. Those are the names of those beings. And then the positive ones are angels. And they have us working with both so that we clear the lower frequency ones with love and respect for them. We just use the word release to release them off of our energy field. And then we feel the emotions of the angels. And once again, there's an angel called Bright Eyes. And that is a simple emotion code that we have all felt one time or another in this lifetime. Many of us, maybe not all of us, as star people are correcting. That's okay too. When we start to work with the messenger system, we do come to this point of realization that all of the emotions had to flow inside of me. I held them, and then it allowed the messengers onto my energy field in order for them to assist my manifestation, as they are still creators from the source of all. And that is what we are as well. So there's a source frequency. We can see it as an energetic net, or the human consciousness grids are connected to it. And then that flows downwards and it generates a physical reality. But the angels and all sentience, all forms of consciousness, all physical matter and non-physical matter is all connected up to the source frequency. That is what modern physics tells us. So when we know that, then that basically means that we are able to consciously connect into the source frequency in order to download bright ideas or to have knowledge, or there's a whole number of reasons why we can connect. There's also different healing modalities we are able to facilitate when we properly connect into the source of all. So it's absolutely beautiful. Well, that was the last question for tonight. You guys can find me at daniellipton.com. I do offer sessions one-on-one with people, and I also do, I'm opening up a spiritual university for all people. That is the treeoflifeorganization.org. You guys, it's free to sign up. Come join us and take a look at our classes. And thank you guys very much. You have a wonderful night.